It's Overall Podcast once again. And yes, we are especially known for talking about tech related topics in order to make life more easier, smarter, and better. I'm the host for today. My name is Masturoh Akimbani, popularly known as Misty, and I'm not alone. As always, I've never been alone. So I'm currently with Lukasz Leonard Kozancki. I got that right, yeah?
You got it perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Misty.
Okay. So I'm just going to say a quick summary of his bio, because man, Lukasz actually has a whole lot of experience. I can't wait to learn from him. I really can't wait to learn from him. Lukasz is born in Szczecin. Did I get that?
You got it
Szczecin
perfectly.
in Poland.
Thank you.
He
Yeah.
have 12 years big corporate companies experience, a variety of departments in countries like Ireland, Hungary, Greece, Portugal, and Poland. That's a lot. He also has 7 years catering experience in most possible positions, excluding chef. So he has two businesses setting up and running. He has 3 years entertainment experience, and he has 14 years self-development courses, including Landmark. He's actually a leader in the field. Welcome, Mr. Lukasz. It's really a pleasure to have you in today's episode of our podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Masturoh. It's an absolute pleasure, surprise, and privilege to be here. Just really thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So today's topic is really interesting, and I can't wait to get the full gist about it because I've never heard of Silicon Valley before.
So yeah, so she mentioned about Silicon Valley, but what I think probably most of the people know what Silicon Valley is. And then so I will just summarize. The Silicon Valley is a special area in North California where basically the startups and there's especially a few decades ago they were like booming, and there was the biggest growth in the history of the startups and the companies connected to IT. So that was that the name was Silicon Valley, and basically everyone who was involved was very successful. I mean, I don't mean every company, but most of the companies, they were so connected. There were so many talents that it became really kind of success story with enormous opportunities in the United States. And those companies, they were, of course, they were serving their service and the businesses for all over the world, including titans like Google. I would say I'm not sure about that, but for sure the Microsoft, at least part of the Microsoft was there. There was major companies which were invented over there, and they are until now. Right now it's slowed down. That's a normal kind of that's a normal behavior in economy. And Silicon Valley had those, like, let's say, golden years few decades ago, and that was just an enormous impact on the economy, on also US economy, and especially California, and also, I mean, especially IT companies, which right now, until now, the cities, the major cities like San Jose and San Francisco. We're talking about right now, it's 2024, and Silicon Valley is still there. They are really great players, I would say, partners to be approached. It's, of course, it's a number one still place to have the agreements, the business partner to make major decisions and connect the businesses when it comes to the IT area. So what we are here for is basically something which we created with Ian. Ian is himself, he's also IT expert. He has his own company, which is working on IT solutions. And this is, it is providing the solutions in the healthcare. And it's very innovative items he will provide for the market and for the people in order to make sure the people are healed on time during their daily activities. And I cannot say more because it's obviously it's the business confidentiality. And then I started about that we I started to talk about Ian and sorry, my mistake, my apologies. I was talking about Duke. Duke.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and because Duke was the one to invite me. He was the person, and so I just mentioned that he has also some IT solutions, technologies which will be providing some healthcare solution for the people, and I just stopped there because of confidentiality of his ideas.
Okay, thank you so much about that. Nigerian startups usually have difficulties in sourcing for funds when it comes to starting a new innovation in Nigeria. I mean, sourcing for funds from other countries. I know it is more easier for those abroad to get funds for their startup. So how can Nigerians get funded without passing through all of these challenges like this?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's a great question, and I have to. It's very interesting. I'm smiling because it just came up within the conversation with Duke, and that's how that's how the ideas are being created, right? From the conversation. Without sharing, nothing is possible, really. So we were talking, and I just shared some idea which was partially in my mind from some time, but it actually Nigeria fits perfectly in this picture. I tell you why. Sometimes the disadvantages might be advantage in the business, and from my point of view, how I see the business, I mean Nigeria from outside when it comes to the big business, and especially like corporations and anything which comes to professional business, right? So as Duke said, I mean, there is some distrust, right, from the outside world. I don't know on what level and how much it is, but he just mentioned that. So I think that's part of the image, right? And if, can you like, do you agree, or, I just want to make sure I'm speaking true, or I just want to, I don't want to make a story.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Masturoh. So because of that, actually, that's not a bad news, because the thing is, if you don't have people coming with the business, that means there is not so much competition. And if you don't have so much competition, the costs are lower, or at least part of them, will be lower. The distrust. Okay, this is the first thing which is, from my point of view, playing a really good role in this approach, which means there is less competition, there are lower costs, and of course there is a, let's say, the job to be done. There has to be organization provided. I mean, organization which will provide the documentation, which will also at least have some connections to the, you know, to the organizations which have already some name, right, or already are at least somehow recognized. So that would make it easier to have the conversation with other businesses or businesses with other countries. So looking at that picture and having a conversation with let's say Western countries, you know, showing the possibility of lowering cost for the corporations and still having the good quality of working space, good environment, and you know, and the quality of the workplace for the employees. Because what is happening right now in the Western Europe and in the US, basically everywhere, but what is happening is that there is a lot of cost cutting, and it's very much touching the employees. So I you know, I'm talking about, let's say, freezing the salaries, but that's, well, that people got used to it if there are some times where you have to take care of the money, right? But also it comes to the small things. Let's say just being, you know, there's more kind of a pressure, more a lot of like verification how the employees work. There's less breaks. There is you know, maybe it sounds, you know, ridiculous, but sometimes, you know, even like companies are careful with amount of coffee served for the people, and you know, the like basic things provided to employees, they are very carefully cut. And even outsourcing companies, which they usually have very like way lower costs, yes, because they were providing actually services for the major companies, and that's why major companies, they wanted to use them. So, you know, so they should be actually those one which they have a little bit more money for the employee. And guess what? It's not the case. They are really going at the edge. I'm telling you from inside, you know, from inside, because I'm having a conversation with those companies sometimes. I'm having a conversation about employment, possible employment, and it's getting to the point it's not much workable for the people to even start the work in the different country, because the cost of going to this country, even the company sponsor some, you know, some money for housing, it's really difficult to keep going with that or find the apartment, because of the cost of the housing in Europe is going sky high. So all of this combined, you have the situation where the corporations, they lowering quality of their providing for the employees, right? The, you know, the workspace, the, you know, the possibilities. And then the same time, the, you know, the people who are coming there, they know already the feedback from their colleagues that it's not that great. And the same time, this company is trying so hard to make more money, as it's like in usual corporate world. You know, like most companies have these KPIs and targets, and it's painful for them. It's painful for them because they have to be really tough on the people, on the system, on the programs they operate. It's I mean, I'll be very honest, it's getting to this super ridiculous point. Like it's actually looking funny from inside. You know, like how can it even work? And it looks great from outside. You know, I will not name the companies, of course. I will not blackmail them. You know, but trust me, there is most of them. Okay, so that's the reality. And so in this case, if you provide the opportunity, you know, to have the in region, let's say, business coming, some kind of agreements with, let's say it has to be a lot of agreements, including the one with the developers building the offices space, you know, that has to be professional, obviously. Excuse me, it has to be some, you know, has to be certain security. I would say that's number one. It has to be certain welcoming in a sense of the how will they be transport, what is the relocation package, what do they have guaranteed, what is the type of food they will have, what is the type of benefits they will get from the employees who lower the cost. There's a lot of questions, but definitely there is a space to make it happen. And I tell you, I have a proof, because I know one company from basically which has also the offices in Greece, which already doing somehow this kind of operation. So they opened the office in the Republic of Congo. So it's already happening. It's yeah, I mean it is happening. I mean, people, not everyone knows that, because it's like just very small steps, but what they're doing actually in the long term, it's a great opportunity, and
Okay.
but I mean, thinking about like a long term and having something which would be a win-win situation for the region would be to create the area for this cooperation to come and provide something extra, which there's no other country which provide that, right? And that can be, let's say I have some ideas which we can discuss later on. I don't want to, I don't want to kind of say everything which can be then used for, from other, for, by other businesses. But there are some possibilities which there's, unlimited options which can be used to create something unique. Okay, so it's, first of all, it's a matter of conversation like we have right now. As I mentioned, I shared with Duke. Right now we are here with you, Misty. And you never know where this conversation will go. From our side, let's say from my side, as I have some business experience, and also I'm right now involved in building the startup myself. Like, for example, I have a team which it would be a pleasure to have this project on board and start to taking care of this, Western, let's say West Europe side of it, and start to do the research, start to do the project management, and start to approach certain people. So, I mean, everything is possible.
I would love to like. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Misty.
Okay. All right. So it will be so glad to work with you on this Silicon Valley startup in Nigeria. Well,
Yeah.
you were actually mentioning some companies. You were actually mentioning some requirements that would determine a person's assurance for getting funded for their startup. So I would like to ask, what makes sponsors get attracted to support the startup?
Okay, what are you mean what are the sponsors who will support the startups? Is that your question?
Exactly. Like, what requirements should the startup have that will make them get attracted by sponsors?
Okay. Yeah. So what I would like to say is that you ask me what is the requirements, right, for the startup to come, yeah, or what would be attracting the businesses? Is that correct?
What will be the requirements for startups to get funded?
To get funded. So do you mean like the startups from Nigeria to get funded?
Exactly.
Okay, so that's a long-term plan. Why? Because the first, from my perspective, when we talk about creating the business, right? So you want the businesses already to have a profit, right? So the businesses which are in the Western world, they can actually use the facilities, and they can just talking straight, pay for the services here, right? And for the office space and whatever is provided for them, you know, or even like to build the offices, that can be some deal with these corporations or with developers. Or I don't know, with the government, I have no idea. Something which, you know, which you invest in actual office space, right? So it's way lower investment than in the whole corporation and the structure and operation, right? So when you provide it, you can bring the business here, okay, to Nigeria. And when you have the business here, you are generating some revenue. Okay, and then from that operation, that would be the good base for the future startup creating the businesses, like new startups, you know, based in Nigeria itself, right? Because that, you know, to create the startup, to have funding, of course, everything is possible. It is possible to have some funds, to have some investors, depending on, you know, how interesting it is, how you know, how much possibilities they are in investment. Of course, it is possible. But what I'm saying, investment in the startups would not be the first source of income. That's a more longer term. Okay, so first would be this area and facilities and bringing the Western business to create the cash flow, to create the revenue. Okay, and then that revenue can be used to support the startups, for example, the new startups. But most of all, I would focus on supporting the graduates from the schools, because I know, I mean, I heard how huge problem it is in Africa, where, you know, and in Nigeria, where you have the graduates which they just cannot do the job they learned, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, and you know, and just let's, you know, let's think the business way, you know, let's think the step by step. There is nothing, you know, it's not, I'll be very honest, it's not the idea based on having the amazing ideas about the startups and suddenly having tons of funds, you know, thrown at them, and they will be, you know, they will be growing. I mean, I'll be very honest with you. Is it Masturoh or Misturat?
It's actually Masturoh.
Okay, Masturoh. Okay. So I'll be very honest, Masturoh. You know, if you have 10 startup and they are amazing idea, and you throw money at them from, I don't know, anyway, I don't know from where, but
Okay.
let's say you have investors. So I tell you, without the preparation, okay, without the proper structure and the team and you know, it's quite a lot of steps. You know, the most likely 9 of them will fail, or 10,
Oh, wow.
or 10 of them.
Okay, but what if the company actually have all the necessary requirements and they're still facing the challenges of not getting funded? What do you think the solution can be?
A solution to have companies get funded.
Yes.
Okay, first, okay, let's think about it. You know, in the world of the startups, you have tons of, you know, of the people which are coming with the ideas. It's a wave around the world of the people who have, you know, from their point of view, they are amazing ideas, and you know, and sometimes like most of them, they are really great. So yes, and imagine, you know, because I'm doing this for the last 3 years, you know, looking for the funds, right? Like that would be great to have a funds, you know, who would not want that? But you know, you can apply for so many programs, you can apply for so many institutes, online or in person. But you know, there's a lot of requirements. I will not tell you exactly, but there's a lot of requirements that most, you know, most of all, the client has to agree. So there are certain businesses on the other side, or or the analytics, which they they verify if that business is profitable, right? And when it comes to the very strictly IT based startups, that's, I would say, it's more possibilities, because it's more based on the numbers, it's more based on some technological ideas, or maybe pharmaceutical. So there is more possibilities, and at the same time, it's not I mean, it's not that I'm negative. I'm telling you from the reality, right? It is possible, but if you talk about the real funding and something which will really make a difference, just applying for the funds and and thinking that you will make it because it's a great idea, it's not enough. Okay, there are some professional groups which are helping with that, with the funding. Of course, there is some investment has to be done in that groups in order for them to research investors. So it's not like, it's very few free, let's say, websites or agencies, I would call that, in the Europe and North America, which they would like look at the project and they will decide, okay, this project is good. Let's make a, let's say, so-called verification competition, and they accept your project. They go to another round. Maybe the round was really good for you. You go to another round. They look at the team. They look at the structure. They look at what phase it is, what possibilities you have, to grow your business, and so on and so on. And the most of all, what kind of profits they can have as a business, right? So like we were applying as this venue which I'm creating from the last 4 years, and I think that's a long time. I really hoped it will be like in 1 year, and this is the reality for me and my team. I mean, okay, to be honest, it's a 3.5 year. It's not a 4 year. It's a 3.5, to not be that dramatic. Okay, so and I tell you one thing: the biggest achievement we have in the terms of the applications was in the US. There was the company connected to this, I think, EA Games. So it's a very big sports kind of / entertainment companies. And they were interested because we have more like a coaching and artist societies, the, how do you say, thriving and uplifting and providing services. So they were more interested. They were like kind of, really matching their portfolio. So we were one of the best 20 projects. Wow. Okay. And the prize was great. I think was whoever win was at least 100, I think it was 100,000 euro or $100,000. I mean, it's great and it's not great. Okay. Because
Africans are getting opportunities like this. Oh my God.
Sorry?
I said Africans aren't getting opportunities like this.
Well, but I will tell you something, Masturoh. Okay. Everything is possible, but the same time, I just want to be very real, right? Because even though you have to realize how much is needed to create the right platform, to create the right backup, to create the teams which are running that, and application, and to have this all running, including promotion, marketing, structure, the corporate structure. And I tell you something, 100,000, it's like super minimum to do that. Wow. So it sounds like a big money, right? But that's why I'm saying it is way better. If you want to be realistic and you want to be strong, it is way better. It's like with the marathon, right? Or the fitness or whatever you do. It's like you rather invest in that, invest in the structure, invest in the environment, invest in something which, the big funds, holdings, I don't know, you name it, different investors, they would say, hey, oh, they have already the office space, and they have actually a lot of people talented from the graduates, and they are ready to just start in their departments. Okay, and the salaries are lower than in Europe. Okay, so there's a lot of costs, right? There, which is
Yes.
already cut it. You know what I mean? And then you provide, like, let's say you provide 3 different projects to be reviewed, and and with the different how do you say, the different challenge, I mean different reviews, different I don't know how to say, competitions, let's say, different competitions.
Okay.
At some stage one is chosen, right, as a interesting one, but let's say in 1 year the one is available to get some money, right? So if this startup is attractive, and you have such a backup which the other startups don't have at all, that will be something which some businesses will say, hey, those guys has already the structure, which costs a lot of money. And I at least I see
Okay.
that. I see that from that point. This is for me the breaking point. That you might have, I would say different way. You might have not the, I don't know, quantum physics project, right? Or some Einstein, discovery. But you have something which is sustainable. And it's a good research there that it will make a profit. But you have such a big backup already that, when talking to the investors, they see you totally different way. From my point of view, that would be the real, how to say, something which will make a difference in the deal. Because I tell you, the great ideas, that's fine, but if you have 100 projects with the great ideas, is fine, but if you have million of them or 100,000 of them, that creates some competition, right? I maybe million, I over it, I exaggerate, but but we're talking about a lot of them. Does it make any sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm totally for it. Like, it's not about just making money, and because that, it's not even, the context is not big enough. It's not really rich and great for society, right? It's if it would be just a business bringing the companies here, they pay lower, lower price, and then you just you just make some money. I don't know, there's some management, whatever, and that would be it. I mean, that, and I know that it's not what you're looking for from the Africa part, from the Nigerian side. So it's about growing your region, right? And
Yes.
inspiring the talents, and having possible possible, let's say this, yeah, let's call it a Nigerian Silicon Valley, if that name is suitable for all of you. But that would be something amazing. Yeah, but to build that, you have to base it on the businesses which are already working to make money, and for them to be.
Okay.
Sorry, I just
No,
heard.
I was actually talking to what you said.
Yeah, no, I will make it short. So yeah, so this is, I mean, from my perspective, this is the, for Africa, it would work way better if it's, if it's a long term, really well prepared structure to first bring the businesses, create the revenue, then create the structure, as you mentioned, for your own businesses, right? And then either from the money created from the revenue, start, step by step, and at the same time apply for the funds worldwide. And I tell you, I tell you something. It's not, trust me, it's not that investors will not invest in Nigeria. No, I think they will. The only thing is to be, to have this verified. So if you have a structure, if you have, some know-how, if you have the, they can send a team, or they have already, they know that it's working. It's working, it's verified, it's doing the job. And let's say I would add that there is a specific verification to accept the businesses from the West, which let's say having a certain quality of providing the employees the quality work, right? And the balance in work, with the mental health, with the life balance, so that could be something which would be attractive, and which would be unique.
Okay.
I think that would be a game changer, because maybe I shouldn't say that, because that could be used as an advantage for the other companies, but hey, why not? It's because you see, like when you have that, then you create certain quality of the region, which is empowered and bringing the business on some level, and the people who are working are happy. They coming and they know they are not just like a production on the really high level, and they just like kind of being used in a sense, and they burn out, and and it's just another company which cares about the numbers. So everything is possible. You can create that, and then you have something which is attracting the people straight away, the employees, because they will know very fast, through other employees, through, I don't know, application like Glassdoor, or some other feedback, that okay, well, in this country they actually giving, it's good to go, because you will have a good time. You can even, I don't know, create a family, and I know that they are treating me right. So I would say I would focus on this. Then, as you mentioned, then the startups. Okay, great. Create as many businesses as you want, Masturoh. As many. You can have so many, but have the base. Have the base which you can, you will not fall too much, You can learn. You can learn and create money, and create another business and another business. Once you create that, that's like, it might be unstoppable, it might be unlimited. And then we are talking about this Silicon Valley in Nigeria.
I can't wait for Nigerians to even have that first Silicon Valley, like in Nigeria. I can't wait. Like, I really can't wait. I'm anticipating for it. And yes, thank you so much, Mr. Lukash, for today's episode of our podcast. I really, really appreciate it. You've actually said a lot. I gained a lot. I was actually with my paper and biro.
You are what? Sorry?
I was with my paper and biro.
Okay.
My paper
Okay,
and
great.
pen.
Okay, that's fantastic. That's the best way to have a pen and paper. It's, yeah.
Yes, I was jotting down a lot of things.
Amazing.
And I'm really impressed. So yes, we've actually come to the end of today's episode, and thanks for tuning in to Override Podcast. And yes, today's topic was actually on building the next Silicon Valley in Africa. And not just that, it was also all about the world of business. Like, it's a whole lot. Like, I actually learned a lot. And one of the most important things I learned is it's not always about the ideas that you said ideas don't really matter because there are there are millions of ideas. It's actually touched me because the funny thing is what um a person is actually thinking of to to bring to the world as an innovative idea, someone is already thinking of it somewhere. So it's I work on that thought in me that is true. There are millions of ideas. It's not just about that, but it also depends on how the company communicates through their staffs and also rally rounds for funds and how they connect to other partners, other companies like them. So yes, I also learned about creating business, create a revenue, starts with um, starts with them one step at a time. And the world of business is so cool like that. I really appreciate everything we talked about today. And we hope for more conversations and more discussions like this to enlighten us and make us gain more insights into the incredible world of business. So yes, this is actually the end of today's podcast. And if you actually enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast on your favorite platform. And yes, stay connected with us on all social media for updates and more of the world of tech. And yes, Mr. Okash, do you have a last word to say to our listeners?
Well, thank you so much for listening, and it was honor to be able to express anything which would enrich Africa and enrich this time Nigeria, and create possibility for people, for graduates, which they are craving for, to use their talents, and also to be honest, to have the regions which are really screaming for success, and provide them opportunity. I'm totally up for it, really. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Lukash, Leonard. We really appreciate you honoring our invite, and we hope to have more conversations with you on our podcast. Thank you so much. Thanks to the listeners out there. I remain Misty Masturoh. Anyone who chooses to call me, I will answer. Stay blessed. Bye.
Thank you.